Hello. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for being here at this early morning time. I appreciate it. So, I just had an end note to that stream that I did responding to Kalari and foreign exchange rates. I went back and I looked at the chat of that stream, and I noticed that Brenda Sounds was in chat, and she is an actual financial advisor. And she reminded the chat that the value of a currency reflects its buying power also. And this is something we can't forget. This reminded me of when Zimbabwe's dollar started going crazy because the Zimbabwean government was running a deficit and they printed up an enormous amount of money. And the money was absolutely worthless. So I couldn't help but giggle um, when I remembered, because I remember when this happened, and it's happened at various points throughout Zimbabwe's recent history, that the central bank printed up $100 trillion note, which was worth 40 US cents. Now, can you imagine somebody like Kalari uh, buying Zimbabwean dollars and saying, wow, I'm a multi-trillionaire? No, you're not. Your money is worthless. The money in Zimbabwe got to the point where it was so worthless, they basically stopped measuring the inflation rate because the numbers were stupid. And Zimbabwe started accepting foreign currency in lieu of accepting their own. They discontinued the use of the Zimbabwean dollar. They stopped printing it altogether, and now they're back to it. And the inflation in Zimbabwe is hovering at around 24%, which is incredibly high, but at least it's not over a trillion. Okay. So, no, when you look at a foreign currency and you think, wow, you can get X number of whatevers for $1, that means that my buying power is really, really good. No, it most certainly is not. No, it isn't. That is why you shouldn't listen to people like Kalari. Okay. Now, yesterday we talked about the recall of the Oakland DA. But what we didn't talk about was that the mayor was also recalled. The mayor whose house was raided by the FBI, who is the target, apparently, of a corruption investigation. But that's a story for another day. And we are going to be returning to Nate the lawyer, who did a great video on it. I've actually got two Nate the lawyer videos today, but let's start with the one about the recall of the Oakland mayor. All right. So let's bring this video up. Let's take a look at it. Basically, like we were talking about yesterday, progressive policies have been wildly rejected across the state of California and in other jurisdictions. I noticed that the governor of Massachusetts is now asking residents to take immigrant families into their homes, and people are saying, fuck you. I most certainly will not be doing that. And Nate the Lawyer's channel is linked in the description of this stream. All right, let's go.
We're getting an update in the recall elections in Alameda County. About 10 minutes ago, the county releasing to us new numbers as they continue to count thousands of ballots. So the count isn't over yet. The results, though, so far have not changed much. An overwhelming amount of voters at this point want to recall Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao and District Attorney Pamela Price.
A few moments later,
Sheng Tao and Alameda County DA Pamela Price will be removed from office. So the question now is who will take those positions and when?
Historic moment. This is the first time Oakland voters have successfully recalled a mayor. Now their focus is on fixing the city's main problems.
Now, the first time that Oakland voters have recalled a mayor. Am I going to do a segment on Tiffany Henyard out of Dalton, Illinois? Well, Daddy Leatherface, Nate has done such a good job covering that story that I mean, honestly, I have nothing to add to his coverage. I would strongly advise everyone to subscribe to Nate, go watch his videos on this insane mayor and the drama in Dalton, Illinois, if you really want to get a glimpse of what can go horribly wrong when a mayor of a relatively small town starts acting like a dictator. It's amazing. And she is, of course, in very, very big trouble. Let's continue.
Stay tuned because we have a whole bunch of stories out of California to cover because this was a progressive woke bloodbath. San Francisco's mayor, who was up for re-election, who is progressive, pro-BLM, defund the police, all the nonsense, she was kicked out on her behind by a more conservative candidate in San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
Los Angeles, California, who voted in one of the most progressive DAs in the nation, just kicked him out of office because he was too light on crime. And this was happening all up and down California, but nobody's reporting it. Nobody's reporting it. This election had some severe consequences for the Democratic Party. And we're going to talk about each one of these races and how this is going to change the landscape of America and California. So we're in Oakland, California.
Okay, and I know that there are people out there who are thinking that I am just exploiting the election results to get views. Sure, I want views. Anybody who streams on any platform or tweets or whatever wants views. All right. We're here to make money. We're here to get views. No question about it. I mean, anybody who claims that's not the case is lying. My contention for years has been that I need to be more tough on my party than on the other party. When the other party does something insane and reckless, I say, "Oh well, you know, that's a dog bites man story. That's no big deal." When my party starts acting crazy and reckless and leading us over a cliff, that's when I want to speak out and say, "No mas, no mas. It's enough." Yes, and you know what? I really want to highlight this comment, because that is the truth across the board, whether you're dealing with social media, whether you're dealing with politics, whatever you're dealing with, this is absolutely the case. There is a silent but not silent but vocal, that makes no sense. There is a silent majority out there who is fed up with lies. They're fed up with people lying to officials. They're fed up with people lying under the most serious of circumstances. They can recognize bullshit when they see it. And in the case of politics, their lives are being directly affected. So what did they do? Did they lie to pollsters? Probably. Did they hang up on pollsters? Maybe. I don't know. But you cannot argue with these election results. In progressive pockets, these people voted these politicians in, they saw the results, and they issued a fucking recall, which is no small feat. That requires a lot of grassroots organizing among common citizens who have said, enough is enough. We don't want this anymore. Out, a pox on all your houses, out with all of you.
The most progressive city in America, who's just kicked out the mayor because she was too progressive and anti-police. Okay, so to understand the story why a progressive mayor got kicked out of one of the most progressive cities in America, you have to understand what was going on in the city before this woman became mayor and after this woman became mayor. So here is what crime statistics look like before she got into office.
Oakland is seeing a dramatic drop in the crime rate, especially when it comes to murder.
We covered all this yesterday.
Makovic takes a look at the strategy by the police department.
And it appears to be working.
Good news is certainly welcome. This is a city that has averaged more than 100 homicides a year for the last 4+ decades. And today, Oakland leaders releasing the annual crime data report, which they say shows a steady 5-year decline in shootings, homicides, and robberies. There were 75 homicides occurring in Oakland last year. That is down from 85 in 2016, and that follows that downward trend. 2016 brought a 12% drop in violent crime versus the 5-year average and a 20% drop in robberies.
So then crime became a racial issue, and funding police and holding people accountable for criminal activity became racist. So cities like Oakland said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to defund the police. We don't like criminal justice. We're not going to hold people accountable because doing so is racist. So they defunded their police department.
In Oakland tonight, defunding the police has become a reality. Hours ago, the council voted to take more than $18 million away from the police department to invest in violence prevention programs.
Where 3 hours ago, the city recorded its 62nd homicide of the year. Man shot and killed on Chestnut Street, West Grand Avenue. No word on a motive yet. This latest homicide comes after a vote by the city council last night to cut the mayor's proposed police budget by $18.4 million.
Now, let me ask everybody something. And I'm not trying to troll, and I'm not asking a rhetorical question. This is an actual question. How is it that I was seeing videos and statements in print and on television by Black residents of these cities saying that they did not want to defund the police and that it never got to the ears of the politicians? How is that possible? So basically what this tells me is that they were only listening to activists. And indeed, the district attorney was a BLM activist. So they took their preconceived notions and their own prejudices, they applied them to public policy, and we can see the result.
The mayor says that's going to result in the loss of 50 police officer jobs at a time when violent crime is way up. Those backing the cuts say the money's better spent on violence prevention programs.
So obviously, we know what happened. Crime exploded.
Let's get right over to KPIX5's Ann Makovic, who's live at the news desk on Oakland's increase in violent crime.
Yeah, those numbers just released this morning show a reverse of years of falling violence in Oakland. So this is a new disturbing trend. Let's take a look at some of those numbers. There were 6,351 violent crimes recorded in Oakland last year, the highest number in the last 5 years, and a 7% increase over 2018. Homicides, aggravated assaults, and robberies were all up. The only violent crime that fell was rape.
Now, if you didn't notice, the same reporter is the one who's doing these crime stats. And it's funny because when crime was being handled and crime was low and things were going good, she was in ruby red. She's in a red dress. And then when crime explodes and goes crazy, she's in Democrat blue. And
Nate, come on. That's a stretch. Stop it. That's beneath you.
almost looks like the same dress, except different
colors. It is the same dress.
I just thought that was a funny observation. One of the biggest problems when you go light on crime and allow crime to just go rampant is that local businesses can't stay open because criminals just go in and take stuff and rob people. And if you can't make money in your business, then you close the store. So there was a huge amount of businesses who decided to just leave Oakland because their employees weren't safe.
This Target near downtown Oakland is set to close by mid-October.
I'm sad. What about the seniors? I do in home care.
There you go.
She lives right here.
Only full-service grocery store in West Oakland is shutting down. It's bad news for many loyal customers and the neighbors.
Well, there's a last-minute push to save a Walgreens store in East Oakland.
Yeah, one city leader is calling that store the lifeblood of the neighborhood. The stores at 81st and International does have its loyal customers. But as KPIX5's Katie Nielsen explains, it is also a favorite target for thieves.
Excuse me, if I may toot my own horn, toot toot, and toot Negs's horn, toot toot, and get your minds out of the gutter. Were we not saying this for months? Were we not on our channels, on Rumble, YouTube, wherever, saying exactly this for months? That because of the crime waves in Oakland and in San Francisco, that grocery stores and pharmacies and other businesses were closing down, which was putting the poor minority, primarily residents of these towns, in a very bad position where they had to go and shop at bodegas where the prices were much, much higher than they would have been at Safeway, at Target, at Walgreens, wherever. and that even small business owners were closing down. You know, Twitter, if Twitter hasn't moved already, it's moving its headquarters to Texas. A lot of businesses, the Whole Foods in San Francisco closed down. A lot of grocery stores closed down because of the rising crime rate. You cannot expect business owners or even large chains to keep individual stores open when they are being robbed into kingdom come. The police don't care. The criminals don't get locked up. And there is no disincentive from committing crime, right? So let's continue.
Where concerns about crime at their only In-N-Out right by the airport has caused the company to decide to close the location for good. In-N-Out is just the latest in a long line of businesses that have shut down in the last year, citing crime as a driving factor.
Denny's in Oakland served its last meal today. After 54 years, the restaurant shut down for good, citing concerns over crime. As KTVU's Henry Lee reports, this is just the latest business to close its doors due to the ongoing violence.
So things were going insanely out of control. And the mayor had to start doing damage control, saying, hey, this wasn't my fault. It was all someone else's fault. You don't believe me? Here she is being confronted about the surge in crime after her policies have failed.
Some of your critics do allege that the burglary that took Officer Lay's life and other crimes that happened in 2023, that they happened on your watch. Data from your police department shows robberies, burglaries, and car thefts all up last year. How do you explain that?
You know, I have the best job in the world. That's because every day I have a chance to fight for a safer, more affordable, and prosperous Oakland. And I ask all Oaklanders to help me achieve that vision with hope and with collaboration, and really push aside division and fear. The only way that we're going to get through this is together. And, you know, I want to thank you for that question, because I should clarify.
Yeah, madam, the people got together and they kicked you out of office. That was the solution.
By the record, I have 3 points I want to make. First, making Oakland safer for children, families, businesses, and visitors is my top priority. And I join Oaklanders in demanding for more prevention, more enforcement, and more accountability for the criminal groups inflicting harm upon our community. Second, crime in Oakland has been on a steady rise since 2019, a full 3 years before I took office. And it is dishonest for anyone to state that crime started rising under my watch only. Under my watch, however, we looked under the hood and identified issues that needed fixing while setting priorities that really move Oakland forward.
No, the priorities that you all set was not locking criminals up. That was the priority. That doesn't move Oakland forward. Having all these businesses shut down does not move Oakland forward one little bit.
And third, my record is clear. Despite inheriting rising crime rates and a historic budget deficit, I have taken aggressive action to reduce crime by investing in a robust police department, by strengthening violence prevention initiatives, and leveraging technology to disrupt the criminal networks. And under my leadership, Oakland has more police officers.
No, madam, why do you think there's a budget deficit? What do you think caused that budget deficit? Could it be that you can no longer rely on the tax revenue from businesses because they've all shut down and left your jurisdiction? I'm just throwing that out there as a possibility. Again, I'm no economist. All right, but it seems like there is a correlation.
More safety ambassadors and more violence prevention teams on our streets than any time in the last 2 years. Of course, things don't get better overnight. We have already diagnosed the issue, right? And so right now we are implementing our plan so that we can ensure to reduce crime and improve the whole community sense of security here in the city of Oakland.
Now, no one believed that. So people kept pushing forward to, we got to get this woman out of office so the city is not destroyed. And then the mayor got hit with some more bad news.
Yep.
The FBI was investigating her for corruption.
And we start with that breaking news happening right now in Oakland. The FBI has raided a home associated with Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao. Within the last hour, agents left carrying boxes. You see them right there out of the home. And sources are now telling ABC 7 News this may be a part of a larger raid involving several other locations across the city of Oakland. Thanks for joining us on this busy news day. I'm Julian Glover.
And I'm Kristen Z. The home associated with Mayor Sheng Tao is on Maiden Lane in Oakland, just off of Highway 13.
So yeah, I think Mayor Tao is about to have some problems. People don't like her policies. Crime is exploding. The city's going to hell. And on top of that, she's under FBI investigation. So it was time for the mayor. And
shades of Marion Barry. That's exactly what happened in D.C. under Marion Barry. Exactly the same.
And also the corrupt DA to get the hell out of here.
In Oakland, California, it appears Mayor Sheng Tao and District Attorney Pamela Price are on their way out, with voters backing bids to recall them less than 2 years after taking office. Both recalls are leading 65% to 35%, with 100% of precincts reporting.
65% of the people who turned out to vote voted in favor of the recall. Again, you cannot argue with those margins. You can't do it. The people spoke up. The democratic system worked. And again, like I said yesterday, I could not be prouder of the citizens of Oakland.
The results, however, have not been finalized. According to organizers behind the recall efforts, voters are celebrating the results as they believe the mayor and DA have been too soft on crime, KTVU reports. Critics said Tao should not have fired police chief LaRon Armstrong and is also to blame for sports teams leaving the city. Earlier this year, the FBI also raided the mayor's home as part of—
Wow, I did not know. See, you know, this is what I learned because I don't watch local news, and I certainly don't watch local news in other states. I did not know that the Oakland A's had left Oakland. That's a problem. That's an economic blow. Maybe that accounts for your deficit.
Of a corruption investigation. She, however, claimed she is innocent and wrote a letter to the U.S. Attorney's Office demanding the FBI tell her constituents that she was not the target of their investigation.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
So by a 2-to-1 margin, people kicked out both the mayor and DA. The video on the DA, if you missed it, it's probably going to pop up somewhere here. But the mayor and DA were voted out at a 2-to-1 margin. So the mayor accepted the recall vote and released a statement.
Recalled Mayor Sheng Tao's term will officially end this year, though it's unclear exactly when she'll step down. In a statement issued by Tao's office, she spoke of the goals she had in the roles, saying, quote, "It was my goal to make Oakland safer, cleaner, and more vibrant, and I'm proud of what we accomplished together. I am deeply proud of the progress we created together, and I'm committed to ensuring we stay on track by supporting a smooth transition."
So if you like to hear more of these stories, don't forget, stay tuned, like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. And if you're listening to me now and haven't subscribed, you're like part of what?
Please subscribe to Nate the Lawyer. He is terrific. I don't know of any other really, really big channel that is reporting on these stories, and I am very, very grateful to him for highlighting this fuck shit. I appreciate it. And we are going to watch another video that is pertaining to YouTube and what happened to these YouTubers before and after the election results were announced. And this is a bit of comic relief. Okay, I think that we all need a good laugh around here. Nate posted this video a couple of days ago, and I admit that it made me guffaw. All right, let's go.
Wednesday morning, he will leave Washington a pariah. Donald Trump will never be allowed to set foot in the Capitol again. Never.
That's why my prediction system, with a 40-plus year track record, predicts that Kamala Harris will be a new path-breaking president, the first woman president, and the first president of mixed African and Asian descent.
This is what I would say is my most realistic map.
Okay.
Right. My most likely to be close map. Okay.
I'm sorry, but if you have Texas leaning Republican, that is not a realistic map, sir. That is not. When you have Alaska leaning Republican, wait a minute, I'm having a hard time. Okay, wait. No, Florida is leaning, Iowa is leaning. The colors are so close together that it's hard to make the distinction. No, it looks like he's got Texas and Alaska likely. What do you mean likely, Kyle? Just FYI, I cannot stand this man or his wife. They're both completely out to lunch.
This one is Kamala 319, Trump 219.
Nope.
Democrats 319, Republicans 219. Okay.
Sure.
With
Kyle.
this map, this is probably the one I lean most towards. Okay.
Nope.
You have Kamala wins Nevada. Kamala wins Arizona. Kamala wins Georgia. Kamala wins North Carolina. Kamala wins Pennsylvania and the blue wall state. So this is basically Kamala win.
In what universe was Kamala Harris going to win Georgia? Or North Carolina? Are you people out of your goddamn minds? This is why I don't watch them, because watching these idiot, hard left, tanky YouTubers makes my blood boil. And honestly, it's because of people like Kyle Kalinske and Jank and Hassan and these other left-wing, hard left commentators on YouTube that the Democratic Party is screwed, blued, and tattooed unless it stops listening to people like this and starts listening to adults.
Winning like all of the swing states. The reason why this one I feel like is my potentially most accurate map
to you, there is a possibility that this is not close. If it's not close, it's tough to imagine Trump blowing out Kamala.
Okay.
It's easier to imagine Kamala Harris blowing out Trump. So that's the kind of caveat.
A few moments later.
And we will get crushed if this is the way we respond to a defeat. The right wants us not to exist. The right wants to decimate independent progressive media. And so when I lose 5,000 subscribers and Brian loses thousands and Ring of Fire loses thousands and everybody's losing thousands of subscribers.
Right there, as you can see, will be enough to tip the election here. You can see that I have Georgia. Let's see. If we do Georgia as light red, North Carolina as light blue, Arizona as red, and Nevada as blue. This, and I'm going to throw one, I'm going to throw a curveball here. Iowa as blue as well. That puts us in the 307 territory. Honestly, I'm less certain about Georgia than I am about Iowa.
Donald Trump picks up 6 electoral votes in the state of Iowa.
But obviously, we're looking at a 300 plus if my predictive map is correct.
Okay, this is just on a personal note. On a personal note, as somebody who covered politics for 30 years in Washington and worked on elections for over a decade prior to that time, starting when I was a teenager. My first race in DC was a school board race that I volunteered for. My friend's mom was running for the school board and she won. Do you have any idea of how much this hurts me? Not because my feelings are hurt, but it hurts me as someone who spent years in the trenches and is watching these amateurs project their wishful thinking onto their channels and broadcast this bullshit out to their huge audiences. It hurts me. It hurts me when they do it on the right, too. It hurts me a lot. And I think that we have gotten to a point now where we're at a very dangerous point in this country where so few people trust the established media that they're turning to people like this who don't know anything about the electoral process. They know nothing. They don't talk to voters, or if they do, they're only talking to people who agree with them. They have no idea of how the other half lives, none whatsoever. They've probably never traveled to these red states at all. And if they've traveled to a swing state, they're not talking to a wide range of people. So it kills me. It kills me that anybody listens to these people. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I don't want progressive media to exist. I want you to stop lying to people. Stop lying to people. That would be my recommendation. This is why you're losing subscribers. It's amazing how people who are online who consistently lie to their audiences, and this is not just in the area of politics, lie and lie and lie to their audiences, lose subscribers. Isn't that amazing? And they lose support. Incredible.
Few moments later.
Democrats continue, for some
Hey, Kanish.
reason, unbeknownst to me,
Hi, Annie.
to pretend that mainstream media is some partner in democracy, that they're on our team. I don't know how much clearer I can say this. They are not on our team.
Janine?
Corporate media exists to serve its shareholders. It is a business.
All right, today I'm going to show you some of the most famous pollsters, some of the most famous liberal YouTubers, explain to you why Trump won this election. Okay, first we're going to start off with Alan Lichtman. Now you're probably like, who the hell is Alan Lichtman and why are we starting off with this guy? Well, here is how CNN and all of the media, the mainstream media, introduces him.
Gotta mute that. It's copyrighted music. What are you trying to do to me?
Got the man with the keys here with us tonight. It's the one and only Professor Alan Lichtman. He has correctly predicted 9 of the last 10 elections. And the one he got wrong, 2000, he argues he actually got right since Al Gore beat George W. Bush in the popular vote. So exactly how does Lichtman make his predictions? Well, he says we should follow his 13 keys to the White House.
All right. The other thing you need to know, besides the fact that Alan Lichtman wears a horrendous toupee, and yes, I'm going to get that petty. Alan Lichtman is a professor at American University, and Alan Lichtman has risen to sort of like some weird status in the Washington press corps as a kind of Miss Cleo of these elections. Now, his 13 keys, the keys to determining the outcome of an election, are in and of themselves sound. The problem is you have to know what data to input in order to make it work. And he's been wrong before. And he was very, very wrong in this cycle. And that puts him in very good company. A lot of pollsters were wrong. Even Mike Madrid, who I think is one of the best pollsters in the country, got it wrong. He got it very wrong. Let's continue.
White House. They include things like incumbency and third-party candidates, state of the economy, and social unrest. If 6 or more go against the party in the White House, its candidate will lose.
Okay, wait a minute, though. Let's go back and take a look at these keys. All right. Now, party mandate, contest, incumbency, third party. Okay, short and long-term economy on their own should have swung in Trump's favor, or should I say should have swung against Harris. Social unrest definitely should have swung against Harris. Military failure, military success, all right. Incumbent charisma would have swung against Harris. Challenger charisma would have swung in favor of Trump. I know that people hate his guts, but there are a lot of people who like him. And again, as I have stated before, people who hate his guts voted for him. Now, it should come as no surprise to the White House that Kamala Harris was deeply unpopular. Her favorability ratings had been in the toilet for a very, very, very long time. And there was a very unflattering article in the New York Times about how her staff was trying to instill some sense of reality into her and say, look, your unfavorability ratings are really, really high, and you need to go out there and reestablish your identity to the voting public. And she would get extremely hostile and angry. So based on the 13 keys, I do not understand how he could have imagined that Harris would win. This is wishful thinking yet again.
If 6 or more go against the party in the White House,
hi, Vicky,
its candidate will lose.
Okay, so this is where things get interesting. Lichtman had predicted that if Joe Biden dropped out of the race, Trump would win. It's literally the title on the video you're seeing now. It says, top election predictor, Trump likely winner if Biden is replaced. So he is like a huge Joe Biden fan. So he says, if you replace Joe Biden.
Okay, meanwhile, I predicted it if Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Harris was the nominee that she would lose. Put me on TV.
Trump will win.
Last question. Is it abundantly clear to you that the biggest mistake Democrats could make is pushing Joe Biden out when it comes to their chances in November?
Democrats have already made a huge mistake by showing their lack of a spine. You know, by one sign of adversity, they're all running for the hills.
No, I mean, these are the ramblings of a madman. everybody could see that Joe Biden's mental faculties had slipped and that there was absolutely no way that he could instill confidence in the voting public and let them and that they would then return him to office for another 4 years. It seemed likely that he would be, I think, the first president in history against whom the 25th Amendment would be invoked. There was absolutely no way that Biden could have sustained the rigors of campaigning, gotten elected, and fulfilled his entire term. There was no way. You'd have to be crazy to believe that that was true.
Disparaging their nominee, their elected president, playing right into the hands of Donald Trump. They would play even more into the hands of Donald Trump if they pushed out Biden and then tried to get a so-called more electable candidate.
So then Joe Biden gets kicked out, and then lo and behold, his keys have spoken again, and Kamala will be the true winner of this election.
It's wishful
That's why
thinking.
my prediction system with a 40-plus year track record predicts that Kamala Harris will be a new path-breaking president, the first woman president, and the first president of mixed African and Asian descent.
So his keys have spoken.
Yeah.
But you're going to now see on election night the exact moment he realized the keys have failed him.
Trump is winning 51% of the Hispanic vote in Pennsylvania.
Oh, well.
What?
That's what CNN is showing right now.
Was that possible?
It is possible, Alan.
The world is turned upside down, that's all I can say.
I'm starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah.
She needs to make up 170,000 votes.
I don't see it. The big Democratic counties are mostly in.
No, they're
Yep.
well.
Yep.
Shit.
I just don't see it. Good thing I have nothing to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I took off work tomorrow.
And I'm not doing.
You know what? You know what's funny, Lynn, is that I don't live in Pennsylvania, obviously, and I never have, but I've said this about 1,000,000 goddamn times. That is that when I was driving back and forth between DC and Indiana, if you look at the route that I took, in the short or long stretches of road that I used to drive through that state, it took me through rural Pennsylvania, southern Pennsylvania. And I saw nothing but Trump signs in southern Pennsylvania. How did everybody miss this? How did they miss it? I don't understand how it is possible. I don't understand how it's possible that this failed to register with pollsters or with political consultants. That is something I find shocking. And that is just based on not polling evidence, but evidence based on my own eyewitness accounts. I mean, come on.
Any interviews.
Good.
I'm done with that.
So as you can see, he realizes the keys have failed.
Uh-oh.
And people are going to want to know, what the hell happened? The keys have been right for 40 years, you said. Well, here is what he put out immediately after it was apparent that the keys couldn't unlock the door.
Look, my prediction for this presidential election was wrong. I own up to it. Right now, I am taking time off today, Wednesday, through my live show Thursday. My aim is to assess why the keys were wrong and what we can learn from this era and what the election means.
So next on our list is David Pakman. Now, David Pakman is one of the most famous liberal YouTubers out there. He makes frequent appearances on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Don't be. Here we go. We're live.
We're doing it.
Yes, we're doing it. What's
I'm
going
nervous.
on, man?
I'm nervous.
No, don't be.
It is, isn't
I
it,
enjoy
Rex?
your show. I really do.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to watch. You're a very smart guy, man. And like I said, we were just talking about it. You're very reasonable.
So the night of the election, after
And you know, I want to interject, okay? This is what hurts the most. Not that this should matter, but I've always felt a kind of kinship with David Pakman because, like me, he's of Argentine descent and he's a Jew. And I thought, okay, well, and he's a little bit more brainy and eggheady than the other retards like Hassan and Kyle Kalinske and Cenk and people like that. or jank or whatever. But even David was subject to wishful thinking and confirmation bias. So listen, he deserves to lose subscribers. He deserves everything that happened to him because he misled his audience and he lied to his audience, as did the rest of them.
Trump had been declared the clear winner, people left liberal media in droves. They just started unsubscribing to all the biggest channels. And David's channel was one that lost something like 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers, all in like the span of like an hour or something like that.
Okay, well, I didn't see, because I went to check Social Blade and I didn't see Minority Report lose a ton of subs, even though I wish they had. Sam Cedar is a disgrace. He's a complete embarrassment. A capo, a man who has his head wedged up his posterior. But I didn't check all the channels. I just checked David and I checked Minority Report. Or is it Minority or Majority Report? I think they call themselves Majority Report. Sam Cedar's channel, whatever. I didn't see a huge bleeding of subs on that channel.
It was like a bloodbath. So here's David coming on saying, hey, where's everybody going?
I'm going to tell you something that is terrifying me. I always try to come here and put a positive face on everything, but there is something going on that is terrifying me. When I woke up this morning, we had lost 5,000 YouTube subscribers.
You've got millions.
Compared
Get
to
over
where we
it.
were last night. Now, the first thing I thought was, is this a glitch? We've been on YouTube for 15 years or something like that. And subscribers always just go up. They just never go down. They go up. Is something wrong with my channel? Is
That
someone
sounds
attacking
very
my channel?
entitled,
What's going
David.
on? So I started texting. And I texted Brian Tyler Cohen. And I texted Tyler Cohen and Brian Cohen and Brian.
Okay, tank your YouTube analytics just because of your convictions. What do you think is, what would you suggest would be the alternative, Casso, to lie to my audience? To continue talking about people and issues that don't matter? No. I mean, granted, yeah, I want people to join my memberships. I want donations. I want people to subscribe to my channel. And they are, by the way, subscribing to my channel. I'm not losing subscribers, I'm gaining. But I'm genuinely curious to hear what it is that you would have suggested. Oh, not me. I'm sorry, Casso. I am so sorry, Casso. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I thought you were referring to me. Never mind. Retract everything that I just said. Well, I meant it, but thank you, Casso. I appreciate it. Let's continue.
And Tyler, all of them. I texted all of them. I texted Jesse Dollamore. I texted Luke Beasley and Farron Cousins and Sam Cedar. And every single one of our channels since last night is hemorrhaging subscribers.
Thank you, Casso.
What is it that is going on? Here is a graphic. As you can see, subscribers just go up, 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 and they are down. It is not just YouTube subscribers. We are seeing record cancellations of paid memberships.
Oh,
record
no.
cancellations. These are the people that keep the show running.
Really, David? You know, I was in a position to be concerned when I had a 12,000 subscriber channel and 2,000 unsubscribed in under a week. And I lost 200 of my 300 paying members. That's a cause for concern. You have millions of others. I think that you are going to be okay. You're going to join the resistance. People are still going to pay you. You're not going anywhere. I think that you will manage. All right. You're making a good living. You're going to form a coalition with these other losers who are going to sit around whining and crying about what happened. And what happened was that none of you are qualified to discuss the issues that you discuss. It's one thing to go on a channel and offer opinions. It's another to go on your channel and offer analysis based on wishful thinking. That is not going to work out for you, David. It just won't.
Now, for a moment, I thought if it's just YouTube, maybe YouTube is purging people who are inactive subscribers. And
Yeah,
once
right.
a year, usually YouTube does this and you see
That's
a
what
little
I thought it
decline,
was too. That's
and
what I
then
told
numbers go
myself
back up. They're
when
not
I
doing
lost
it.
all those subs.
They're not doing it. And if that were the case, we wouldn't be seeing paid membership cancellations on the website.
That's right.
So now I understand what is going on. It's terrifying, but it is happening.
So as you can see, this is a crisis. They're losing paid members, thousands and thousands of subscribers from all across liberal media. And that's because I think people kind of feel like they've been lied to, right?
They have.
Like, you weren't telling us the truth. You were telling us stuff that was obviously false. And now people kind of feel betrayed by that. So that's why it's like, why am I going to support this? And are going to people who they feel to be more reasonable in their assessment. Now,
Yep. And for all of you who are leaving Pacman and Sam Cedar and these other content creators that he mentioned, who I don't follow and I've never watched, or Kyle Kalinske or the Young Turks, you are free to come here because I am not insane. I don't peddle a bunch of horse shit. And you are more than welcome to come to my channel, to come to my community. I do not peddle propaganda. I do not lie to my audience. And I would suggest to all the YouTubers who are out there who are lying bald-facedly to their audiences about matters both large and small, politics or non-politics, whether it's about politics or about individual human beings, that you are all going to lose your audiences eventually, one way or the other. People do not like being deceived and lied to. They don't like it. They don't like it. Let's go.
one thing I'll say about David is David went on and then gave a reason why he believes that he got it wrong.
To me, what happened is actually far simpler, and it's going to come off as far more offensive than these explanations, but I think it is far more accurate.
Okay.
Number one, millions of Americans quite literally have no idea what's going on.
Okay, David, this is again, this shows me that you have learned absolutely nothing. If you are going to go online and claim that people are leaving your channel because they're stupid, then maybe you were the one who misinformed people. But if you're going to say people are too ignorant to know what's best for them, that is point number one against you. Let's continue.
And I know that it's sort of like, oh, David, are you doing the Republicans are stupid thing again? Listen, there's plenty of uninformed Democrats. There's uninformed independents. But there is a degree to which millions of these Trump voters have literally no idea what's going on.
Okay.
At a recent rally, a bunch of young white men, Trump
young
voters,
white
were
men.
asked,
Okay.
why are you voting for Trump? And they said, because gas prices are so high. The truth is that gas prices are at their lowest post-pandemic point, tied with a bunch of post-pandemic lows.
Okay, and this is point number two that is not going to win hearts and minds. You cannot go on your channel and condescend to people when they are expressing their lived experiences. You cannot go on and blame white people for the win of Trump when you have a broad coalition of minorities who went into the voting booth, some of whom held their noses and pulled that lever for Trump. You cannot do it. I mean, you will, but let me rephrase. You shouldn't do it. This is not the way to win people over, by calling them stupid and gaslighting them and telling them that what they are experiencing is not actually happening.
That is just the truth. So saying I'm voting for Trump because of high gas prices when gas prices are low, you are simply clueless, and Trump benefits from the clueless vote.
Okay.
Same thing with inflation. Oh, inflation's so high. Inflation has come down dramatically under Joe Biden. And in fact, it's come down faster than in other Western developed nations.
Okay. David, do you know that when I was staying in Gulfport in August and I would drive into New Orleans, that there was upwards of over $1 of difference in gas prices from Mississippi to Louisiana. Louisiana gas prices were the lowest gas prices I have seen anywhere in the country in years. Like $2.50 a gallon or something ridiculous like that, which makes sense. Louisiana is an oil producing state. You cannot tell people. I mean, they were the gas prices in New Orleans, Louisiana, We're literally like $1.50 below what they are in Indiana. Please do not lecture people and tell them that what they are paying at the pump is a goddamn mirage. It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
So that's one thing that a lot of people are just completely clueless about what's going on.
So you Trump supporters are misinformed.
Right.
Essentially dumb.
Yep.
I see why he's losing a lot of subscribers and members.
Yep.
But I feel bad for laughing at poor David, but I see why the left wing is in trouble, especially, have lost confidence in why people watch them.
Yep.
This guy who we're looking at now is Brian Taylor Cohen. This guy is a monster on YouTube. You'll see him on
Is he?
MSNBC.
I've never heard of him.
He's got millions and millions of subs and viewers. This guy is a beast when it comes to liberal media. But he's going to tell you the reason why Trump won is because the mainstream media is against liberals.
Okay.
It's against the left.
All right.
You think I'm joking?
Democrats
I've heard this
continue,
before.
for some fucking reason, unbeknownst to me, to pretend that mainstream media is some partner in democracy, that they're on our team. I don't know how much clearer I can say this. They are not on our team. Corporate media exists to serve its shareholders. It is a business before it's anything else, certainly before it's some protector of democracy. And yet still, our side has decided that when there's a big interview, go to mainstream media. When there's news, give it to mainstream media.
Okay. When Jeff Bezos changed the slogan of the Washington Post to "Democracy Dies in Darkness," I thought that was a wonderful slogan, and I was going to get it tattooed on my body. I didn't know where, but I was going to get it done. And I've worked for the Washington Post, so watching the paper rise dramatically, the quality of the material under the incredible stewardship of Marty Baron and the ownership of Jeff Bezos. That was an unbeatable team. They returned the Post to the glory days of Katharine Graham and Ben Bradley. It was amazing. I have a word to say about Bezos deciding that, or Bezos, however you pronounce his name, deciding not to endorse a political candidate, and a lot of my friends in DC who are working members of the press corps and who are subscribers to the Post made a big drama out of unsubscribing from the Post. I have long believed, this is a very unpopular opinion among people in the journalism profession, I have long believed that no station, no conglomerate, and no newspaper should ever endorse a political candidate. I think that it is extremely unethical. It sends the wrong message, and I don't give a damn if it's the editorial board doing it. Most people reading the paper cannot make a distinction between the editorial board's recommendations and the straight news coverage that they see broadcast or printed elsewhere by that same organization. I think that papers need to stop endorsing political candidates. It goes against the grain of everything the journalism is supposed to stand for. I have expressed this opinion for years, and trust me, I was not getting more dinner invitations as a result of making my opinion known. So yes, I've been a bit of a gadfly throughout most of my career. But let's continue.
Let's keep validating the same outlets that continuously undermine us at every single time.
But my greater point was that the reason that slogan is so brilliant is because democracy does indeed die in darkness. It does die in darkness. And if you've got people who create darkness by way of throwing up clouds of disinformation and misinformation, frightening voters, or lying to voters, whether it is from media organizations or on YouTube, TikTok, wherever, you are doing a huge disservice to democracy, a huge disservice. However, I have a firm belief in American democracy. I remember when my dad voted for Reagan. I think he voted. No, he didn't vote for Reagan. He had a picture of Reagan in his office, but he only voted Republican one time in his life. And that wasn't for Reagan. It was for Carol Schwartz in the mayor's race against Marion Barry. But being an immigrant, he was extremely patriotic, and I used to roll my eyes at him. I mean, it was the 80s. Nobody backed Republicans in DC. If you were in your 20s, you were going to all the Dead Kennedys concerts on the mall and stuff, and you were not a big believer in democracy. You weren't. But then you grow up and you realize that we live in a great country with an incredible democracy, thriving. Excuse me, thriving. And we all need to learn how to appreciate the freedoms we have and how great and strong our democracy is.
Turn. Sometimes I have to beg politicians for interviews for my channel for months and months and months and months and still don't even hear back. And yet they'll fall over themselves to go talk to the New York Times, the same outlet that ran, 60 cover stories about Hillary's emails. That's who they need to confer more validation onto. That's who they need to reward with their time, with eyeballs. We desperately need a left-wing media ecosystem that rivals what they have on the right.
So you right-wing lunatics, it's the media. The media likes you guys. It's not lying to you. It's all a right-wing conspiracy. It's like, this is upside down world. So, I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think he's right?
That's why all of you crazy lefties sound as insane as the January 6th wackos. You sound exactly the same to me. There is no difference between you and, Glenn Beck and people like that. There's no difference.
Right? What do you guys think about David Patman? That you guys are just uninformed Trump supporters are just uninformed voters. That's the reason why he won. It's the one thing about this whole thing is that I'm going to give you guys my opinion.
Okay, good.
They aren't understanding. This was never about a right wing and a left wing. This is not about liberal and conservative. I'm just going to tell you people.
I know, Name.
This is how I feel. This is about top down. The upper echelons, the Beyoncés, Taylor Swifts, billionaire Mark Cubans, and all those people on the right, the Hollywood elites, right? All Hollywood came out. The Hollywood left. They came out and they said, we want this person to be president. The mainstream media, this person we want to be president. And the people on the bottom side said, no. Said, this is who we want to be president.
Yep.
And the person on the left who gets it is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders gets it because Bernie Sanders says it's us against those billionaires. It's us against those people who are raising taxes and want to control the information we have and stuff. It's us against them.
No Name, I want to thank you for being such a generous supporter of the channel and of myself and Negs. I am so happy that you're here. Not again, underscore, underline, highlight, asterisk, not because of the money, but because you are such a wonderful supporter. I really, really appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone in chat who has been so supportive, whether publicly or privately. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts.
Those happen to be the Democrats. That's why the Democrats kicked him out, right? He kind of went away. But Trump has come out and said, that's who you're fighting. You're not fighting. We're fighting against the establishment, the machine. And the people of this country had a choice. I'm calling this the Trump pardon. He was facing all of these cases. He's facing almost a lifetime in prison, right? If he's convicted on these federal cases. Now, one or two things could happen. Joe Biden could have pardoned him, or whoever won the presidency, or the people could have pardoned him by giving him the power to do it to himself. And that's what the people did. They said, the establishment is going after this guy. This is our country. This is our government. We run this shit. And we're going to show you we do. So you charged him, you indicted him, but we're giving him a full pardon. And what the hell are you going to do about it? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you.
I would very, very much, responding to Nate's last point, I would very, very much like to see what percentage of the vote broke down to actually pro-Trump people who support him and his policies, and what percentage was not her. I think that would be very illuminating, and I hope that we can track down one honest pollster who will do an analysis, crunch those numbers, and let us know that. I do not see this election necessarily as a complete vindication of everything that Trump did in office. I don't see it that way. I think that the zeitgeist was against her. I think people were pushed too far and got fed up with it and said, "Look, I may hate this guy's guts. He may be a giant asshole. He may even be a crook, a rapist, whatever else you want to call him. But God damn it, at least he's not her." And maybe the people he brings in are going to run the country in a way that is more favorable to the way I see the world. You know, I saw that there was a comment in my last chat where somebody was saying, "Oh, I can't believe that anyone is taking this business about girls' sports teams seriously." No, 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 no. It's part of a larger picture. It's part of a larger picture. It's part of a picture where children are being indoctrinated in school by their own teachers, and the teachers' union is doing nothing to curb it. The administrations are doing nothing to curb it. In fact, I'm guessing the teachers' union supports this nonsense. We are seeing weirdos online who are openly grooming kids, advising them to go no contact with their parents and saying things like, "I'll be your daddy, I'll be your mama." You know, we are seeing girls missing out on opportunities that are presented by playing on these sports teams. We are seeing girls being injured because they are playing against boys on sports teams. We are seeing large numbers, many, many girls especially, who are on the autism spectrum who are being medicated and operated on by doctors. We are seeing studies conducted about whether or not transitioning children is helpful for their mental health. And we are seeing that these studies are getting buried by the medical establishment. People are looking at all this and saying, "There, but for the grace of God." Oh, and we're seeing children being removed from their homes by CPS because the parents will not acknowledge their quote unquote new gender, or are misgendering them or using the wrong pronouns, which is now all seen as abuse and trauma. And people put their foot down and said no. So it goes far beyond the issue of girls and boys playing on the same sports team. It's not limited to that. And anyone who wants to engage in this reductio ad absurdum is really spectacularly missing the point. That is absolutely not the point. We are medicating children in ways and operating on children in ways that are irreversible. And these children, as they get older, are going to be dependent on the medical establishment for the rest of their lives. For the rest of their lives, I cannot think of a cultural issue or a medical issue that is more important than this issue. Everything else pales in comparison to what has been done to children over the past several years by the medical establishment, with the full support of the political establishment, with the support of the ACLU, with the support of Planned Parenthood, all organizations that I used to support and donate to, quite generously, may I add. And those donations have stopped forever. Well, never say forever. Maybe if they reverse course, I'll consider, and they do a complete change in their staffing, and they do a radical course correction and go back to the fundamentals. Maybe I'll consider throwing them a buck or two, but not until then. All right, you guys, I need to get out of here. I've got to get on with my day. Thank you again. Welcome to the new members. Any support that you can throw our way, we appreciate. Our Cash App and PayPal information is in the description box of this channel. Thank you again for the support, whether it's your eyeballs, your likes, your subs, your money, your attaboys, the way you support us in other chats, the DMs, the emails, and everything else that we've gotten. I cannot express my gratitude sufficiently. I think I'm a pretty wordy person, but even words even fail me when it comes to figuring out ways to thank you all for this support. We do not lie to our audiences. We don't lie to our audiences, unlike other creators. And very soon, the depth and breadth of these lies will be exposed. And I think that even some of you who support us now are going to be absolutely startled by what it is that you see. That is a promise. You can take that to the bank. All right, you guys, thanks again, and I will see you all the next time. Thanks, everybody.